It's really a great opportunity to celebrate our architecture and environmental design program, so it's so great to see everybody here doing that. In all seriousness, we are in the home of architecture and environmental design, both of them ranked in the top 15 in the United States for the number of graduates working in architecture and design firms. So we're very pleased to meet in this location. And there's a reason that I led in the way that I led. But first, let me, in addition to welcoming Kenni, welcome Sierra and their children, Rosie and Cone. We're so glad to have you here, and I look forward to getting to know you better. So why did I begin the way I began, talking about architecture and environmental design? In my interview with Kenni, we did not talk football. Instead, I laid out who we are as a university and who we are as an athletics department, and if and how Kenni would fit in and lead our institution and lead those values. And so in the hour that we had together, I talked to Kenni about our fierce commitment to access and degree completion, about being a school not just for the fortunate few, but for the meritorious many. And I talked about how we accomplish more with fewer resources, including becoming an R1 Research Very High institution, one of 146 such institutions in the United States today. And then when we talked about who we are as an athletics department, we talked about our student athletes as ambassadors for the university, meaning a fierce commitment to attending class, a fierce commitment to ever increasing the GPA of our teams at Kent State University, and always expecting to lead with the behaviors that reflect well on Kent State when our student athletes are interacting with the general public. And we finished with how success on the field, but not having success in these other areas is not enough at Kent State University. And so after about 30 minutes of laying this out for Kenni, I asked him just one question. So if you want to know how I interview people, this is the one question I asked him. I said, Kenni, describe to me how you would fit in with these expectations, and how would you lead as our head coach and lead those values of Kent State University? And with well-chosen examples and well-chosen stories, for about 30 minutes, Kenni mesmerized me with his lived leadership in exactly the areas that make Kent State the special and powerful university that it is. So I'm really thrilled, Kenni, to have you here, have your family joining us as part of our Kent State family. I did not hire Kenni. It turns out that that's the job of our athletics director and his really crack team. And I say that as I conclude my remarks by appreciating the leadership that Randall Richmond has provided in this process and every day as our athletics director. Also thank Greg and Jesse and all those involved in this whirlwind of activities. Again, welcome, Kenni. We're so glad you're here. And I'll now turn things over to our athletics director, Randall Richmond.
All right, good morning. Good morning. It's an exciting time. I want to give a shout out to the original Kenni Burns Sr., as he's doing grandpa duty on the way out. Thanks for everything you've done. And we know how big that is. He drove all the way here and is missing the contest. He's the original ball coach Burns. So he's taking care of the family through and through. You know how their family is. Hey, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, so I'll be concise and precise as I introduce our next head coach of the football team, Mr. Kenni Burns. When we set out to fill this position, we went into the archives and began to research what's worked here at Kent State, what's yielded success. We spoke with former coaches, polled a subset of student athletes, and drew on our own experiences from being here many years before. And 5 things stood out. High energy, how they engaged our student athletes early in the morning needed to be with the same passion, excitement, and intensity as when they engaged our donors, staff, and greater Kent community throughout the day and throughout the night. Belief. We needed a person with an unconquerable will who believed they could win here and could instill belief not only within the team and our student athletes, but within the department and throughout the campus and the community as well. Command presence. We needed a person who, when they stepped into a room, everyone knew, hey, that person is our leader. That person is in charge. And we're confident in the direction that this person is taking us. Third, accountability. We needed a person who would hold their student athletes and staff, and even us as administrators, to a higher standard. Someone who would be demanding but not demeaning, and would correct the act while withholding and preserving the dignity of the person. MAC familiarity. We needed a person with MAC ties who knew what it would take to win in a league with immense parity. Cold weather towns, a tough, hard-nosed student athlete, and an ability to recruit to that profile. And lastly, explosion. We needed someone who was elite at their craft, and Kenni is elite at his craft of overseeing running backs, and had an ability to articulate how they would implement a level of explosive plays into their offense. Now, in the spirit of holiday season, our wish list made Santa blush, right? We're asking for a bit. But apparently we here in the Kent community have been really nice this year because we found all that and even more in Kenni Burns. Throughout this process, I kept finding myself saying, there is no more prepared person to be a head coach who's never been a head coach than Kenni Burns. His championship pedigree, clear vision for the program, strong and demonstrated leadership, along with his purpose for growing young men beyond just the playing surface, all leaped off the screen when we reviewed his materials and became even more evident when we met Kenni in person. Kenni has been intentionally groomed for this exact moment throughout his 15-year career, especially over the last 4 years as the assistant head coach and designated number 2 behind head coach P.J. Fleck at the University of Minnesota. Kenni is arguably the best teacher of the running back position in the country, and that's not an exaggeration. He has received an outpouring of love, appreciation, well wishes, and I'll misuse due to his transformative and positive impact he's had on others' lives throughout his career. Of all the people we talked to about Kenni, before anyone can go on about his ability to coach, teach, or lead, they first and foremost raved about how extraordinary of a person he was and is. Kenni, through his Kent Grit mantra, is ready to lead a proud and transcendent era of Kent State football. Please join me in welcoming the 23rd head coach of our Kent State football program, Mr. Kenni Burns.
Wow. As a coach, you sit here, you think of this moment over and over and over in your mind, and you never know exactly where it'll be at, and you really never know when that time will come. But I'm extremely humbled, excited, proud to be the new head coach at Kent State University. I want to start by saying this is a dream come true, truly a dream come true, because a lot of guys want to be head coaches, but every once in a while you find a university that meets exactly what you're looking for and that fits exactly in what you believe in. And I found that here. It starts with people. People's been the story of my life. How I've got where I've gotten to is because I've surrounded myself with elite people. And there's a lot of people to thank for that. Some here, some not here. But the one I want to start with are the players back at the University of Minnesota. Those players made me a better husband, a better father, and a better coach. I'm forever grateful for those players. They touched my life more than they could ever know. And I hope they understand that. I hope they know I appreciate that. And I thank them for pouring into my life as much as I poured into their life. And that's what it's all about to me. I want to also thank President Deichen for his vision, his understanding of exactly what Kent Grit was, and seeing how it married together. I want to thank him for that. I want to thank Randall for his energy. I mean, I've never seen someone affect so many people with this positivity and his energy to lead and to be a positive influence on our student athlete's life. I want to thank Greg and Jesse for their organization and the process and their detail and going through every single step to make sure it was exactly right. I want to thank Sean Lewis, who put the foundation down to make this thing great, along with Paul Haynes and Daryl Hazel. I'm excited to be here, but I wouldn't be here without PJ Fleck. PJ Fleck is a life changer. He's the definition of a servant leader. He made sure from the day I walked in there and I sat in his office that all of his journey would be to get me standing in front of you. And every day he demonstrated that with how he led me to be a better man and a better coach and a better father. And I thank him for that. I thank Joe Traynor, Dell Lennon, and Craig Bull for giving me the opportunity to stand here in front of you and giving me my first shot to be a coach at the Division II, Division I AA, and the FBS level. And we did great things and winning championships together. I want to thank my brothers, my assistant coaches back at University of Minnesota, Brian Callahan, Kurt Chiraka, Matt Simon, and Greg Harbaugh, who every day we grinded to build something great there. And I'll miss you dearly. I obviously want to finish by thanking my family. My mom, Melody, my father, Kenny, my sisters, Angie and Kirsten, my in-laws, Rick and Brenda, and my three brothers. I got two sisters, no brothers. My wife's got three brothers. It's a perfect marriage. Derek, Bo, and Tanner for believing in me. And I'll finish with thanking my squad, I call them. My wife, Sierra, my son, Cohen, and my daughter, Roziah, she's named herself the assistant head coach, just so you know, so that position's gone, who will be here with us. So we're excited to be here. We're proud to be your head coach. And I want to start by just telling you a story how a guy like me from Springfield, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, is sitting here in front of you. And that story starts with my mom and my dad, who had me at a very, very young age, at 16 and 18. And they had many times where they wanted to quit, where it got a little too hard, where their dreams and their goals seemed a little bit outlandish. And I think about my mom in this story because my mom, she was a teenage mom, but she never gave up on herself. She went to college. She found a way to become a correctional officer after dropping out of high school, and then become a major at a prison, and then become a warden of a prison. And she led me with this whole unconquerable will mindset. So you ask me where grit comes from. That's where it comes from. The idea of growing, responding, doing it with integrity, and doing it together with some other people can create great things. And that's what we're going to do here. And I found an institution that does exactly that grows, that responds to whatever issues that might have financially, academically, that does it with tremendous amount of integrity. And all you have to do is walk in our athletic building to see the togetherness that's there, and that's special. So when you talk about the marriage, it was right there, right in front of my eyes, and I saw it from the beginning. But how are we going to do that as a football team? We're going to grow academically, athletically, socially, and spiritually. Academically, we're going to sit in the first two rows. We're going to wear collared shirts. We're going to engage with our professors. We're going to do what I call +3. Just be 3 points better than you were the last semester, and you'll reach all your goals. Athletically, we're going to change our best. We're going to change our best every single day just to be a little bit better than we were the day before and get bigger, faster, stronger, and build on what Sean and Paul and Daryl have done here so far. Socially, we're going to brand our student athletes. We're going to make sure they understand that they play for the name on the front, but they represent the name on the back. And make sure when they leave this institution that they have all the tools they need to be successful and attack their life. And then spiritually, it's not a religion, but we're going to know what serving and giving is. Giving back to our community, giving back to each other, being the best version of ourselves. through our Gopher for Life, or through our Flash for Life program. Yeah, thank you, PJ. That has really encompassed this whole idea of creating the holistic player. But with that, that's our mindset, and that's what we're going to attack. And our style of play is not going to change. It's going to be flash fast. We're going to bring our defense along with that, and our special teams do the same thing. And we're going to win MAC championships, go to BCS bowl games, and bring Kent State to the national scene and national stage. I appreciate you. I am so honored to be your head coach. And this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. And this is going to transform lives of our student athletes to make them special and always remember Kent State University. Thank you so much.